Action Comics issue 1017 sees an armored Batman and Wonder Woman help Superman up amongst the rubble. Diana says that they need to think about the well-being of the city, and Clark knows Luthor is counting on it. The Trinity confront the Legion of Doom and Lex, and Superman tells them to leave Metropolis alone and he will surrender. The Legion know this to be not true at all, and Lex says that when they first met long ago, he said that this isn't Superman's world or his city. Brainiac tells him that he insisted on this challenge, and Luthor says exactly, as the other Legion members know that now they can offer the true challenge to the heroes. Superman asks what Lex wants, and he wants Superman's genuine surrender, which since won't be happening, the Legion prepare to attack. The day before, Clark conducts an interview with the Daily Planet's new owner, Leone, telling her that people want to know a little bit more about her. Leone doesn't think the people are waiting to hear her story, but Clark says that it might be illuminating for the people. Leone knows that Clark has done some digging on her, and Clark prefers to call it research. Perry meanwhile listens outside to the conversation, shooing away Jimmy as Leone asks about Lois Lane and the cute stories she hears about her and Clark, who changes the subject back to the interview since Leone seems to be trying to steer away from it. Leone says that she is uncomfortable in the role, and Clark wonders why she took it, since she could have just kept all her money invisible and been happy. Before Leone can ask how much research Clark did, a meteor speeds past the skyline of the Daily Planet. Superman appears quickly in chase as Leone notices that Clark is gone. Jimmy and the others continue to try and see if it was related to Lex Luthor or Leviathan as Superman speeds towards the meteor, getting ahead of it and catching it, contacting Kellex and telling the Fortress to scan the energy signature. He is sucked inside and realizes that it's a Leviathan portal, which takes a hold of him and teleports him to Gorilla City. Superman is approached by some of the Gorilla soldiers, and he tells them to let King Marama know that he begs for forgiveness in intruding accidentally in their nation. The Gorillas, however, were the ones who drew him to the city and plan on kidnapping him. The Gorillas pile on him as Perry asks if anyone has written anything about the fireball that blazed past their building just before. He begins to worry about having to use large print as Clark arrives back, but stays silent, which everyone knows that they should stay away from him for a while. Clark gets to work on the story as Leone says Robinson Good has been missing for 3 days, but Trish Q says that she is still texting, and Trish knows that she might be at the Ace Club since it just apparently blew up. Clark hears them talking and looks out onto the cityscape, seeing the Ace Club explode. The news soon reports on it and Clark takes off again. He rushes to the scene, helping the firefighters out of the rubble and wondering if it was a gas leak. Chief Melanie Moore says that it wasn't a gas line leak, and yesterday the mayor of Metropolis was in the bar and now it's been destroyed. Superman apologizes for not being there, but she knows he can't be everywhere at once. Melanie wants the corrupt madness in the city to stop and tells Superman to have Clark Kent call her. Later, Clark goes to see Lois in Chicago, telling her about the explosion at the Invisible Mafia secret club and how Leviathan tried to kidnap him. Clark says that Leviathan tech was used to get Superman out of the city so the explosion could happen, and he never saw it since the building was made of some material that he could not see. Clark says that he's been analyzing the material at the Fortress, but his Gorilla City leads have run dry. The two reporters wonder why Leviathan and the Invisible Mafia are at war with one another, and Lois wonders what does the Mafia have that Leviathan cannot or does not have. After a moment, they both know Luthor is involved, as in the present, Superman and the heroes battle Lex Luthor and the Legion of Doom. Action Comics issue 1017 was an utterly confusing mess of an issue. Not only does it try and be a present day issue, as in it's kind of a Justice League tie-in with the whole Legion of Doom, Doom War story, with the heroes fighting Lex and the others, somehow, since that can't actually be happening since we've seen what happens in Justice League, but also it stupidly tries to tie in Leviathan and the Invisible Mafia to one another, and they do it in a really clumsy way. This issue is all over the place. Superman is kidnapped by gorillas, but then in the next page is totally fine. We don't see him get away from it or sort of investigate any of that sort of stuff. He's just back in Metropolis doing his thing, and then the Invisible Mafia are involved because they are a threat to Leviathan despite being contained to one city, while Leviathan is a worldwide all-powerful organization. Doesn't really make much sense and seems like Bendis probably forced this to happen. It's just so stupid, and so is Bendis' dialogue throughout this whole book. I did not hate John Romita Jr.'s art, however, but I know some people will. I'm going to give this issue a 2 out of 10.